So now that D23 is over and we got our first official look at the Black Order, and the lucky people at D23 also got their first look at the Avengers Infinity War trailer. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but tons of people have seen the trailer and written descriptions online of it. Unfortunately, no one's leaked the trailer itself, but you can get a pretty good idea of the events in the trailer from the descriptions. Now, after reading the description, I began to think how the Black Order is going to be used by Thanos in this film. And ultimately, I came to the conclusion that the Black Order will be the ones collecting the Infinity Stones. Now, this makes sense because we've seen from previous MCU films that Thanos feels he's way more superior to the Avengers or the Guardians, hence why he's kept on sending lackeys to retrieve the stones for him. But ultimately, they failed every single time. So it makes sense that he would send the next best / strongest thing to combat the threat, these children. So I began to believe that the Black Order will be used in Infinity War in a way that will build up to the reveal of Thanos, either midway or towards the end of the film. So with the description, my understanding of the MCU and my understanding of the Black Order and following the Infinity storyline from the comic books, I believe said events are about to happen in Infinity War. This is Big Screen Little Screen Chats and Reviews, and today we're going to talk about the Black Order and their involvement in Infinity War. I think one of the very first things we're going to see is a member of the Black Order making their way to Xandar. Why? To retrieve the Power Stone. As we know from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, the Power Stone relies on Xandar protected by the Nova Corps. Now, the member of the Black Order I believe will be doing this is Black Dwarf. In terms of strength, he's the strongest member of the Black Order, and he could easily pierce through all the defenses the Nova Corps would put up against him. He'll take the stone, and obviously he will go to Thanos to give it back to him. But to do that, he's going to have to go through a ton of different areas of the galaxy. The Nova Corps probably dispatch a fleet of ships to go after him and get the stone, but he will defeat them using the power of the Power Stone. After that, Xandar and the Nova Corps will most likely not want to risk losing any more of their forces, so will contract the Guardians to retrieve the stone. Hence why they will end up in a quote-unquote creepy part of space, as is described by the Infinity War trailer. Meanwhile, while this is going on, the events of Thor Ragnarok will be coming to a close. Loki's going to get his hands on the Tesseract, because it's locked up in Odin's vault on Asgard, and use it to shoot Thor to the opposite end of space just to get him out of the way. Like Thor the Dark World, maybe Thor and Loki will team up again to battle the threat that's present in Thor Ragnarok, but ultimately, Loki's going to betray Thor. Thor always believes that Loki has a chance for redemption, but it's always just thrown back into his face. So, while Thor's guard is down and the threat or nemesis of Thor Ragnarok has been vanquished, it makes sense that Loki would use the Tesseract to get Thor out the way so he can use the Tesseract for his own devices. Now, it's said in the description of the Infinity War trailer that it opens with Thor landing on the Milano, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy's ship. So, if you think about it, this does make sense, because how else would Thor end up in the location of where the Guardians are? What would make Thor crash on the Milano? He's not going to use the space gem on himself. It makes sense that Loki got the Tesseract, betrayed Thor, shot him to the opposite side of space to get him out the way, and that's how Thor has ended up in this region of the galaxy. Now, I'm not saying that it's not convenient that Thor happens to land on the Milano, but what I am saying is that Thor ending up away from Asgard, away from the conflict of Thor Ragnarok, because it says in the description that he lands on the Milano in his gear that he's wearing from the events of Ragnarok. So he's immediately come from the events of Ragnarok to this region in space. How would he have gotten there so fast? And why is he unconscious? Because he's just been shot through space by the Tesseract. It makes sense. We know from the trailer of Thor Ragnarok that Asgard is going to get wiped out. Now, I don't know how it's going to go down Thor Ragnarok, because obviously the film isn't out yet, but I believe that Asgard is going to get ruined. And Loki's going to try maybe to revive Asgard. Now, the only person who would have the power to revive Asgard would be Thanos. Loki's going to hand over the Tesseract to a member of the Black Order, maybe Ebony Maw. I believe it to be Maw because both Maw and Loki have in common the art of manipulation, cunning, and intelligence. It'd be easy for someone like Maw, however, to play on Loki's weakness and desire to be a true king. Loki would benefit from an exchange with Maw, the Tesseract for his life, and as we know, Loki fears Thanos, and Thanos isn't pleased with Loki having lost the Mind Stone and not retrieving the Space Stone originally as he had promised. So a bargain being struck for everything Loki has ever wanted in exchange for Earth is definitely something within Loki's personality. It's definitely within the parameters of his traits. And Maw, all the members of the Order, could easily play on Loki's desire to get the Tesseract from him. So that's 2 out of 6 stones so far. Now, I heard talks as well of Vision. I can't remember if I read a description or something online, but I read that Vision is in a cage somehow. Now, Vision today is the most powerful Avenger at this moment. So for someone to be able to put him in a cage that he can't phase through would mean he's facing someone with incredible strength as his own. Now, the person or being who can match Vision could be none other than Corvus Glaive. Glaive is Thanos' second in command and arguably the most powerful member of the Black Order. I believe the clip everyone keeps talking about with the Scarlet Witch dodging an attack could be her battling Corvus Glaive to protect Vision from his Mind Stone being taken. But not only just Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight also. Because it makes sense that Corvus Glaive and his wife, Proxima Midnight, would be battling to defeat and take down Vision, who holds the Mind Stone, being protected by the Scarlet Witch. Because as we know, the Scarlet Witch and Vision kind of have a thing, but it's not really addressed, but it's definitely present. So that dynamic there would be amazing to see. And we know from set photos and set videos that Vision and Scarlet Witch are actually in fight with 2 members of the Black Order. So Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight versus Scarlet Witch and Vision for the control of the Mind Stone. So while all of these events are playing out, one has to wonder, what is Thanos himself doing? If his children are acquiring the stones for him, what would Thanos be doing? Now, if we go back to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, we can safely deduce that Thanos is on the same side of the galaxy as the Collector. We know this because we saw Ronan and Cusack speak with Thanos, and then in a few short scenes later, he was in the colony Nowhere fighting against the Guardians. So we know that Thanos himself is in very close proximity to where the Collector is held up. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the Collector, because the Collector holds the Reality Stone, and I think that Thanos himself is gonna visit the Collector. Unless his origins have changed, the Collector is in fact an Elder of the Universe with the gift of prophecy who saw the death of the universe at the hands of Thanos. Thanos maybe knows this, and it could be his motivations for acquiring the Reality Stone from the Collector personally. I think it's much more likely for Thanos himself to visit the Collector out of sheer respect of the Collector being an Elder of the Universe. Now, I don't think we're going to get a big fight scene between the Collector and Thanos, but I do think that Thanos being the one to personally take the Reality Stone from the Collector will be the first scene where we see Thanos in all his glory for the first time. Like, he's just coming out of the shadows, like, hand that over. Like, that would be a good moment for the film to reveal Thanos. So we know the Reality Stone is going to get to Thanos anyway, so why not safely assume that because of the backstory between Thanos and the Collector and the fact that they're so close to each other in terms of where they reside in the galaxy, let's make the assumption safely that Thanos will be the one personally to retrieve the Reality Stone while his children are retrieving the other stones for him. So that's 4 out of 6 stones accounted for. And now the Time Stone, I was thinking, who would come after Doctor Strange, or who would be a match for Doctor Strange? And I was thinking of different members of the Black Order, and it didn't make sense why they would interact with Doctor Strange, all except for one. And I mentioned him before, Ebony Maw. Simply because he came for Doctor Strange in the comic books, and not only just that, but also because Ebony Maw, I believe, is going to have an interaction with Loki. And we know from at least the end credit scenes of Doctor Strange that Thor and Doctor Strange have some kind of interaction throughout Thor Ragnarok. That because Maw is in a closer proximity out of all the members of the Black Order to Doctor Strange, the jump from Maw getting the Tesseract from Loki and then getting the Time Stone from Doctor Strange is a bit more believable and makes a bit more sense. Leaving one stone unaccounted for, the Soul Stone. Now, we don't know yet the confirmed location of this stone as it hasn't yet been revealed, but I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say its current location resides on the home world of the Sovereign, as seen in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Reasons why? Because the end credit scene we see Ayesha, the leader of the Sovereign, revealing that she's creating Adam Warlock. And from the comics, Adam is in stages the holder of the Soul Stone. Who will relinquish the stone from Adam and the Sovereign? I'm predicted again Black Dwarf, only because the Guardians, the Noble Corps, and the Sovereign, they all operate on a similar end of space. And if the Black Dwarf was going to be acquiring the Power Stone, he could easily swing by the Sovereign homeworld and pick up the Soul Stone from them. I find it particularly harder, just because Marvel's being so secret about the Soul Stone's location, to figure out who's going to be the one to take it. But Thanos is definitely getting all the stones because he has to create the gauntlet. The gauntlet needs to be complete. So we know he's getting all 6 stones. I can speculate, and I like to believe my predictions are all right, and if they are, I'll be dabbing from left and right when I leave the cinema. But at this point, it's all just theory. But if you think about things, you'll see my theories do make sense on how these events in Infinity War might play out and how the Black Order will operate in acquiring the stones for Thanos. But with that, I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and please comment below what you think the function of the Black Order will be in Infinity War. Who do you think is going to combat the Black Order? And who do you think is going to go after which stone from the Black Order? But until next time, this is BigScreen LiLscreen.
Creepy little beast!